yeah, this is Sabah. This is we are actually at the northern tip of Borneo. We used to be known as North Borneo, but we're called Sabah now. Can you see the next one now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, this map shows the flight hours in terms of Sabah to the rest of the major cities. Like we are like 2 to 2.5 hours to Manila, to Jakarta, to Singapore, to Kuala Lumpur, about 3 to 4 hours to Taiwan, and maybe 4 to 5 hours to Tokyo. This where we are, yeah? Can see properly now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then Sabah is actually right at the center of ASEAN, as mentioned, easily accessible by air and to and from global destinations, and is ideal location for trading, facilitation in the region, especially in the untapped economy in the ASEAN and the BIMP-EAGA region. Sabah is also known as land below the wind. We actually got around about 4 million population with very long coastline of about 1,400 over kilometers. And then we are the third largest population in terms of Malaysia, with 42 ethnic groups and over 200 sub-ethnic groups. So we are very diverse in terms of culture and all that. And basically for Sabah economy, we are very rich in resources, and the primary sectors represent the major economy for Sabah. And agriculture has traditionally been a significant portion of Sabah economy, and about 25% of Sabah GDP actually comes mainly from the palm oil and cocoa, among others. And Sabah is also the largest contributor to the agriculture sector in Malaysia, and about 30% of actually the palm oil come from Sabah. Other than that, others will be like crude petroleum extraction, which is the main activity in terms of mining, and also quarry. Fisheries and aquaculture also make up a portion of the economic activity, as well as tourism, especially ecotourism. I'll come to that. So in terms of strength in the various economic sector, in terms of palm oil, we have the highest CPO extraction rate in whole Malaysia in terms of CPO production. Crude palm oil, we got the highest crude oil reserve with new deep water discoveries. And tourism, our ecotourism products are very attractive because we offer islands, mountain, conservation parks, flora, fauna, culture, sunset, and our seafood. And others would be the because of the fertile soil, we got our land in terms of 1/7 land are really suitable for agriculture, and we are also the biggest cocoa producer. And seaweed, we also do seaweed production and also fish farming. So in those Sabah Ports, actually, as mentioned by Dr. Mark just now, we are actually a 100% subsidiary of a listed core, Surya Capital Holdings, who actually which state government has got 51% share in Surya Capital. For Sabah, we have got 8 main seaports in Sabah, 4 at the west coast and 4 in the east coast. And all these ports are under the jurisdiction of Sabah Ports Sdn Bhd. To me, it is an advantage in a sense, because all 8 ports are under one management and under one authority actually. So in terms of the COVID and the downturn, and because of the world health crisis, we actually do suffer in terms of our throughput, although our ports still operate as normal, 7/24 still. But last year, until last month actually, for the whole year of 2020, in terms of the downturn, we actually suffered, you can see in the slide, container a couple of percent, and liquid and liquid bulk as well as dry bulk and conventional cargo. I just want to quickly show, this slide show the total cargo throughput of Sabah ports, and also typically representing the state economy. As when there is any crisis, global, be it global, state, or regional, it will actually be reflected in the cargo throughput. As you can see from the graph here, we have also been affected in terms of the throughput handle, because typically we normally handle 35 to 40 million tons of cargo. And this cycle, of course, will be affected, and probably next year will not be very promising in terms of the throughput. Notwithstanding life to go on, we still continue our marketing efforts and economic activity. And why Sapangar Bay? In terms of strategy, we want to improve our global competitiveness by providing strong supporting infrastructure and connectivity to and from international market. And we would like to position Sapangar Bay as a logistics transshipment hub and add value, going forward between Kalimantan, South Philippines, and North Asia. Integration of free zone with Sapangar Bay transshipment hub. And since all the ports are under our control, we can position Sandakan, Datuk, and Tawau as regional trading hubs in Borneo. And we can further expand the role of Sandakan, Datuk, and Tawau by virtue of the fact that they're so near to our Indonesian bordering towns. That public economy is in terms of the role of Sandakan and Tawau, they're very important there. And then also we can position KK Airport as international air cargo freight transshipment hub as well. And meanwhile, of course, it's very important to improve our infrastructure for road and rail connectivity from the port to the major cities. In terms of the facilities that what we have got now in Sapangar Bay Container Port, we are actually a dedicated container terminal, good for 500,000 for now. And we're able to handle 500,000 TEUs. We have got a wharf length of about 500 meters with 500 meter access bridge for now. But in the and also now assisting international shipping line do call us Evergreen Harbour Line, and also Johan, MERS, and all that. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. In terms of positioning in the BIMP-EAGA region, by virtue of the hinterland potential, we have got very strategic location as a hub for Brunei, Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East Asian growth region. In other words, focusing on intra-Asia trade, linking the region with the Far East. Yeah. This is where we are in terms of Sapangar Bay. You can see in terms of the sea linkages. And as mentioned earlier, we have international weekly direct calls already. And in terms of expansion of Sapangar Bay Container Port, this is strongly supported by the government. And recently, the federal government has actually pledged to pump in 1 billion allocation for the expansion. The port will be expanded from the current 500 TEUs to 1.25 million TEUs in 2025. So as Sapangar is ideally positioned, it is actually potential to become the transshipment hub of the BIMP-EAGA region. The immediate transshipment opportunity for Sapangar in the coming decades come from the feeder ports in Sabah, Brunei, and Sarawak, while Indonesia and Philippine ports, the BIMP-EAGA region, could also become feeder ports for Sapangar in the next 10 years. And this map shows the linkages in the feeder ports and the cost in terms of coastal feeder and also Far East cargo linkages, and including the new emerging economies in the BIMP-EAGA. And other than you can see from the slide here, other than the Sapangar Bay Container Port on the left side here, we are also in the green. It is the expansion plan for Sapangar Container Port. In the near future, we are also planning to build another conventional cargo port next to the container port, as we are actually in the midst of planning to move the current general cargo port in KK to Sapangar Bay. And in the vicinity is also, we are actually currently just started to build the second phase of the Sapangar Bay Oil Terminal, which is actually quite full in terms of facility. So as Sapangar Bay actually has got potential to do oil and gas in terms of bunkering, yeah. And talking about the free zone supporting the industries, this development is necessary actually, because this is talking about economic zone would be a magnet, to attract foreign investments to do further downstreaming, to also to increase our global attractiveness in terms of Sabah competitiveness in terms of manufacturing. Yeah, actually, we are very, in terms of, this is a map that shows where we are. Sapangar Bay actually is quite close to KKIP. KKIP, they are planning to do a free trade zone in the area. We also will do one planning for another free trade zone in Sapangar, linking the two segments. In terms of the attractiveness of the future businesses, we have potential for district park services, and this will allow us to do more in terms of the role of the port, to allow the port to engage in cost-effective end-to-end regional and global supply chain management. And meanwhile, we need to increase the port storage capacity for the cargo, and we can actually reduce container utilization in terms of storing old, long-staying containers at the district park. So actually, we are actually quite pleasantly surprised to learn that actually we got announcement yesterday. Actually, SK Nexilis of South Korea had just announced that they are going to set up their first overseas production base in KKIP, and they actually said to have owned the world #1 technology in manufacturing copper foil for batteries, and they are going to locate their first factory in KKIP. And they mentioned that they select KKIP because of the excellent infra such as gas, water, and high accessibility to the ports and also airports, which are very important for the export. So that is the latest in terms of the foreign investment into Sabah. So talking about hinterland activity, the network connecting Sapangar Bay to the East Coast, we have got our own, as mentioned, East Coast port. We can do feeder services among these ports. And of course, in terms of the infra, currently there's no railway as yet, but we will work with the government to propose to link up all the ports and major towns by proposing railway network connecting all major economic center. And of course, as you know, Pan-Borneo Highway is ongoing, and also as mentioned by Dr. Zaki just now, with the move of the new Jakarta in Kalimantan, that's also represent a lot of potential in terms of economy of Sabah and Borneo for that matter. So this one is showing the road accessibility from the ports to the main industry cluster throughout the states. And this represents also the Sabah, own hinterland, and also the potential for beyond Sabah in terms of the hinterland. Yeah. So in terms of the opportunity for investment, there are actually mass production and manufacturing potential in terms of aerospace industry, maintenance for parts manufacturing, auto industry, vehicle production, car parts and all those, and further downstreaming in terms of resource, petrol, oil refinery storage, and distribution and industrialization needs. Of course, palm oil, refinery and other products, fishery, timber, food, rubber. And other than the manufacturing, in terms of the potential for other businesses, mainline operators, we are talking about hub global shipping lines, the intra-Asia subsidiaries, specialized in regional carriers, and then feeder operators. We need common feeders to do the hub and spoke initiative, to coastal shipping operators, free trade zone, the property developer can come in to do the property development, industry parks, manufacturing, trading company, importer, exporter, logistic company, agriculture sector, and including financial and equity investors. So these are the potential investment opportunities presented by Sabah. So in terms of our achievement, as mentioned lately, we actually have have we have external in terms of what we've done so far, recognition. In 2019 November, we've been awarded the APEC Green Port Award due to our green initiatives. And also last year, Global Port Forum based in Singapore also awarded us as the Southeast Asia Terminal of the Year. And also yours truly, they also selected me as a Woman of the Year for 2020. Quickly, in terms of cruise potential, cruise tourism, in fact, in line with Malaysian government initiative, cruise tourism is actually identified to be one important economic contributor. And KK Port is actually identified as one of the most promising port in terms of port of call. And this slide shows the actual picture of the cruise line, major cruise line who actually ever called KK Port. Before the pandemic, we typically normally handle about 2 vessels per month. Then you can see that Queen Victoria, Queen Mary, Queen Elizabeth, Sapphire Princess, even Caribbean of the Sea, they actually ever called. And then even like Genting Group, Genting Dream is the largest vessel in terms of the fleet. They actually made the maiden call in KK Port in actually 2019. So just before the pandemic, there's this Chinese group actually very, very keen to do a cruise flight initiative touring the whole of Sabah. So because we control the ports, potentially we could do cruise domestic hubbing within the ports, from KK Port to Kudat, to Senakan, to Ladatu and Tawang. But then because of the pandemic, the plan is actually put on hold for the time being. But I heard they're still very, very keen to come in as soon as everything is over. So on the drawing board, we also plan to do international cruise terminal in KK Port, promoting cruise tourism to make KK Port into an integrated hub in terms of the property development as well as cruise terminal. So other than that, we will also, although we already received our award in terms of the Green Port Award, but we will continue our efforts actually achieving and maintaining Green Port status. We will continue to uphold best practices and compliance with international standards for health, security, and then we will continue the moment we're actually exploring and try to initiate the utilization of green energy. So in closing, I'd like to summarize our main points in terms of why Sapangar Bay, in terms of our competitive advantages. So number one, we are actually quite blessed in terms of location because we are actually located at the northern tip of Borneo, outside of the typhoon belt and the ring of fire actually, yeah, in terms of geographical location. That's why we are called land below the wind. We normally escape in terms of the typhoon or that. And we are strategically located near the busiest shipping lanes between Far East and Singapore. And Sapangar Bay is expected to serve the eastbound trades in BIMP-EAGA and the Far East. And then Port Klang also, the other side of the world in terms of they will cover the other side. This is to answer some of the questions, yeah. And also, in terms of connectivity, as mentioned, Sabah is actually strategically connected to Asia major cities. And also, of course, we are strategically located at the center of ASEAN. And the fact that we are in charge of all 8 ports in Sabah, that represent an advantage because that will render the control of cargo flow and cargo consolidation feasible. And Sapangar Bay Container Port actually is a sheltered port with very wide access channel, and cruise potential is another segment in terms of the cruise tourism, to promote Sabah Port, Sabah as the especially KK as a dedicated port of call for a few cruise line, and a regular port of call. And of course, again, talking about BIMP-EAGA, we are strategically located at the tip of BIMP-EAGA region. So quite ideal in terms of the location, to achieve this transshipment hub of the BIMP-EAGA. So in closing, I'd like to quote Henry Ford, who says that coming together is beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. With that, thank you for your attention.